Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Phillip. Today we are continuing our conversation about the book, The Practice of Feeling at Ease. Here's a quote from Adler that we have mentioned before. We are not disturbed by events themselves, but by the meaning we give them. The first time I heard it, I saw it sounded a bit like a motivational slogan, but if you really sit with it, it challenges a very deep belief. Are we too used to blaming our past and our circumstance for everything that feels wrong in our life? And in doing that, have we forgotten that we still have the power to choose? In this episode, we are focusing on a key idea from Chapter 4, feelings of inferiority, and an important concept Adler talked about, sometimes translated as apparent causality, or what we might call false cause and effect. It's when we say things like, because I'm like this, I can't do that. It sounds logical, right? Because I didn't go to a top school, I can't succeed. Because my family was poor, I'm naturally insecure. Because I was hurt before, I can't trust anyone now. On the surface, this statement makes sense, but Kishimi reminds us that sometimes these explanations are stories our brain creates to protect us. They feel safe. What does that mean? Adler believed that human behavior is goal-oriented, not simply caused by the past. In other words, when I say because of my past, I can't change, that statement may have a hidden purpose. The purpose might be to avoid the risk of change. Change is scary. Trying might lead to failure. Putting yourself out there might lead to rejection. So, if I believe this is just my fate, or this is because of my background, I can stay in a safer position. I don't have to take the risk. That's what false causality looks like. When someone strongly believes in this kind of cause and effect thinking, they slowly move toward a kind of determinism. Life feels like a script that was written long ago. My childhood was unhappy, so of course my adult life will be difficult. I was criticized growing up, so I'm just not good enough. It sounds helpless, but it quietly takes away something very important, your sense of agency. You stop being the author of your life and become the victim of your circumstance. Over time, it becomes easier to blame the past than to develop the skill needed to deal with the present. What's even more subtle is that this mindset can turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe I'm not lovable, you might become suspicious and overly sensitive in relationships. You might test your partner again and again. Eventually, they get tired and leave. Then you say, "See, I knew it." If you believe my education isn't good enough, you may stay quiet at work, avoid opportunity, and not speak up. When you get overlooked, you say, "Of course I'm not qualified," but it wasn't the world deciding your fate first. Your interpretation shaped your behavior, and your behavior reinforced your belief. So, how do we break this circle? Kishimi offers a practical direction. The first step is to identify your hidden goal. The next time you say, "Because of this, I can't do that," pause and ask yourself, "If I actually succeeded, what responsibility would I have to take on?" For example, someone might say, "Because I'm introverted, I can't make friends," but if they did become more socially active and make friends, they would have to face the risk of rejection, the effort of maintaining relationships, and the pressure of social interaction. Maybe it feels safer to label themselves as introverted and stop there. The second step is to take back your power to interpret. Adler said, "What matters is not what you experience, but the meaning you give to it." The fact of your life may not change. Your parents may have divorced. You may have grown up in poverty. You may have failed before. But the interpretation of those events can change. Instead of saying, "Because my family was poor, I am insecure," you might say, "Because my family was poor, I learned resilience and appreciation." The same fact can lead to completely different life direction depending on the meaning you choose. The third step is to separate fact from interpretation. A fact is something that happened, and interpretation is the story you attach to it. My parents' divorce is a fact. Marriage is unreliable is an interpretation. I was betrayed is a fact. I can never trust anymore is an interpretation. When you see the difference, you realize you have had the power to redefine your story all along. The fourth step is to shift your focus from the past to the present. False causality keeps looking backward, but change only happens now. Instead of asking, "Why did I become like this?" try asking, "What small action can I take today?" It might be making one phone call, sending one resume, signing up for one class, or having one honest conversation. Small actions are how you begin rewriting the old script. The book gives everyday example. In the workplace, someone might say, if I had graduated from a top university, people would respect me. Kishimi might respond, is it really about your degree, or are you avoiding the challenge of improving your communication skill and producing better results? Education is part of your history, it's an attribute, but not your essence. There are people with impressive degrees who can't solve real problems, and people with average degree who are creative and effective. When we confuse attributes with essence, we trap ourselves. Another example is social anxiety. Someone might say, because I'm introverted, I'm not suited for social situations. But introversion is a personality tendency, not a life sentence. The deeper issue might be fear of rejection. When you admit that fear honestly, you give yourself a chance to practice slowly instead of labeling yourself as permanently incapable. Kishimi also talked about illness and aging. Our society worships progress and growth. It feels like we always have to be more efficient, more productive, more successful. So, when someone gets sick or loses physical strength, they may feel worthless. But Kishimi reminds us that simply being alive has value. You don't need to attach achievement or function to your existence to justify it. This challenges a deep collective inferiority, the belief that only upward movement has worth. Before we end, I want to invite you to reflect on one question. Is there a sentence in your mind right now that says, because of this, I don't do that? Maybe it's about your age, your background, or a past failure. Try writing that sentence down, then ask yourself, is this truly an unchangeable cause and effect, or is it a shield I have been using to protect myself? And if you are ready, maybe you can say to your younger wounded self, thank you for protecting me, but now I would like to try a new way. Thank you for listening. I'm Phillip. I will see you next time, and we will keep practicing this feeling of ease together.